It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to today's Integrated Business Solutions case study session. Let me begin with a story. Imagine a time when the most popular way to watch movies at home was to walk into brightly lit store, stroll through passes stacked with video cassettes, and pick your weekend entertainment. In the late 1980s and 1990s, one company dominated the home video rental industry across the globe. With thousands of brightly lit stores, neatly arranged rows of VHS tapes and later DVDs, and a recognizable blue and yellow branding, it became a weekend ritual for millions of families. Customers would browse shelves for the latest releases, grab snacks at the counter, and enjoy a movie night at home. At its peak, the company operated in multiple countries, employed tens of thousands of people, and generated billion in annual revenue. It was not just a business, it was part of popular culture shaping how people experienced entertainment at home. For years, it seemed unbeatable with a business model so rooted that competitors could barely scratch its market share. Now, in the corner of this industry, a tiny new player emerged. It didn't compete, not it didn't compete head on. It didn't even have fancy stores. Instead, it slightly targeted customers who were okay with waiting a few days for a DVD to arrive by mail, not the annoyed crowd that gathered to stores. Industry ex- Industry experts laughed. The big players ignore it. Why bother? They thought those customers are not our core. What we saw is the seed of what we call low end disruption. Low end disruption happens when a smaller competitor enters the market by serving overlooked or less profitable customers, people the big companies don't care much about. In the beginning, these products or services are often cheaper, simpler, or less convenient for mainstream users, and that's exactly why the big players don't see them as a threat. But over the time, the disruptor improves its offering, gains more customers, and slowly moves up the value chain until one day the old leaders find themselves pushed out of their game. And yes, you have gadget. The giant in our story was Blockbuster. The small tolerant newcomer was Netflix. Blockbuster was focused on high margin store based rentals. Netflix started with a mail order DVD for customers willing to wait. Slowly, it added streaming, personalization, and technology. And by the time Blockbuster realizes danger, it was too late. This same story of low end disruption is not just about movies. Take our Bhartiya 3D B3D case study. Traditional home construction is slow, labor intensive, and costly, often leaving affordable housing dreams out of reach for millions of people. B3D didn't try to compete with luxury real estate developers. Instead, it targeted the affordable housing segment, a market often overlooked because profit margin were slimmer. Using 3D printing technology, they could build home faster. They could build home faster with less waste and at a fraction of traditional cost. Just like Netflix, they started in a space where the big players were not looking, and now their technology has the potential to completely reshape home are built in India. Disruption doesn't always begin with a big bang. Sometimes it starts quietly in the corners of the market where no one is watching. The question for all of us, whether is business or in our career, is this: are we ready to spot the disruptor before they take over, or will we be like Blockbuster, watching from the side as the game changes forever? In today's B3D case study, we will see this principle come alive not just in terms of market strategy but also in hard numbers, compliance, and valuation. We will explore how B3D's journey reflects law and disruption in action, how it is navigating the product market fit stage, and how financial viability is assessed through NPV computations. We will also dive into tax disallowances under Section 40A1, map their business model using Osterwelder's business model canvas, and analyzes the treatment of innovation under Ind AS 38 intangible assets. By the end of this session, you will see that disruption is not just a buzzword, it is a strategic, operational, and financial reality that demands integrated thinking across all aspects of business. Today's case study is designed to promote higher order thinking by requiring students to analyze, evaluate, and recommend practical actions in a realistic and industry specific business context. Students, case studies already uploaded on the portal. Please review it. Today's session will be interactive. You can speak your queries whether in Hindi or in English. We are privileged to welcome CA Sumit Dadda sir, a distinguished chartered accountant with extensive experience in auditing and business valuations for large corporates across diverse sectors. His professional journey reflects a strong command over both technical and strategic aspects of business, combining analytical accuracy with real world corporate insight. We are sincerely grateful to him for joining us today, especially during the peak of the audit season, and for taking the time to guide and inspire the future chartered accountants among us. With that, let us begin. I now invite CA Sumit Dadda sir to lead us through this engaging business case. Sir, over to you.
Thank you, C. Deepak Gupta ji, for setting the tone of this session. And as you rightly said, you need to be disruptor if you really want to gain exponential success. So, good evening, fellow students and fellow would-be chartered accountants. There is a very famous quote by Robert Frost: two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. The easy path is which everybody is walking, and what did the Thomas what is Einstein said? The stupidity is doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result. So if I really want to grow, I need to do something which others are not doing. And disruptor starts with just one thought process that you need to change. Not to compete with somebody, you need to bring a new session, new line of thoughts. Before we run through PPTs, let us first understand in terms of what are the challenges in housing industry. What do you think are the challenges? What do you think is as per your best understanding? What could be the challenges in housing sector? Any quick thoughts? Good evening, Neha. Any quick thoughts? What do you think could be the challenges where you think you can either chat or unmute and speak, whatever makes you comfortable? Let's say if you're a promoter, if you are a businessman if you're a real estate constructor person, you're a real estate builder, what challenges you think you would be facing in housing industry? Any quick thoughts? because the solution comes only when we know the challenges. Designing affordable, so that is the opportunity. So he need to do affordable designing. Okay, high capital requirements. Okay, so Chitra, when you say high capital, any quick examples? What do you think would be high capital? So one would be the land. Okay, one could be the land. Okay, compliances. No, no, Geeta, that is the least. That is the least worry about the builder lobby at least. Compliances part, thanks to RERA that has put them on a little bit, that that have put them on a leash. But if you talk about compliances, they are not that much compliance. Because why not that much compliance? Mostly will either work in a JV or in a sole proprietorship. And I'm talking of builders. I'm not talking of listed companies like Shobha Developers, DLF, and all. I'm talking of normal builders who AAA contractors who work in tier two cities and all make that. So compliance is not that much bigger part. Land is the biggest challenge. Okay. Supply of skilled laborers. That is the most difficult part. Getting skilled labor. This industry predominantly this industry works on skilled laborers. Okay. Now, so first is a supply of shortage of skilled labor. That could be one challenge. Second would be, now if I have a skilled laborers, so the laborers generally come from particular locations, or you know that certain laborers come from a particular state, particular locations. So what is the problem of that? Now let's say tomorrow Rakhi is a festival. So what do you think? People will go there or no? So let's say I'm in Jaipur, and let's say we have skilled laborers from, let's say, Bihar or UP or Tamil Nadu or anywhere who knows how to make good construction skills. Will they go for a family festival celebrations? They will go. Will they go for one day? Probably not one day. They will go long time, 7 days, 5 days, whatever. Will that disrupt my business? That may disrupt my business, because I cannot say to them, don't go on a family time. Then they'll say, sir, money is not everything. I need to go. And for them, family, no, not for them, every family would be priority. So they will go there. So my work gets hampered. That's the first thing. Second, every skilled labor was once unskilled, right? We do not have anybody always skilled. He was first a beginner. Like like right now, you would have, in your first day of your articleship or first month of your articleship, you are a novice, you are a beginner. Have you given equivalent result what you would have been given in second year of your training to your organization? Probably no, right? Because in first month your learning curve is very deep, you need to learn a lot, and then you start giving results. Similarly, when I take unskilled labor, what is the risk in taking unskilled labor? What are the challenges of taking unskilled labor? So I need to spend time on him. His productivity will be very low as compared to skilled labor. Will he make errors, or is not going to make errors? Bad construction, so that will damage. So I need to again review it. I need to again put it to good construction. So there will be a double effects, efficiency and productivity, and client will never tolerate any. It is a non-negotiable. If it is not good quality, client will not even pay me money, right? So that's why we have a contractor's requirement. So this will become a challenge with the skilled labor. So that's one. Now this industry is facing a lot of trouble because of uh, capital intensive. So now two models work. One, I can be a I can be a big builder where I buy the land in bulk, in a broad, and then I make them small houses, 2 BHK, 3 BHK, 1 BHK flats, and sell people. How much time generally you think takes to build a building? Generally, a 4-story, 5-story building. Generally, how much time you think it takes? Generally, I'm asking. Anyway, thoughts? How much time you think? 4 to 5 years. No, now earlier it's to 4 to 5 years. Now, within 2 to 3 years they can. concluded, depending on how strong foundation you want. 2 years is a sufficient time period. Now, in 2 years, my my capital stuck because there are two kinds of customers. One customer would be if I tell them that today, if you pay me money, I will give you house after 2 years. I'll give you at a discount price, right? So there'll be some customers who will pay me. But do you think all customers would like to pay me, or some customers would like to see light at the end of the tunnel? They will say, I don't know, after 2 years, this company will survive or not. They will make a construction or not. So we will only buy when the product is ready. Yes, no, maybe. Do you see? You agree there will be two type of customers. One who would not like to take a risk, and they will like to see that. So if I don't get somebody who want to buy now, my capital got stuck. And I'll give you classic examples. Uh, my friend who is a CA, my friend who is a CA, and this is a very actual fact in Mumbai, and he's a CA. He's one of the big MNCs in India. He's a top MNC in India. He's an internal audit head guy. So he was very conservative in buying flats like this. So he said, okay, I'll buy a flat when it is 90% ready. So in Mumbai, one builder built 90% ready flat. He made the entire payment, and trust me, that 10% never got complete. It has been 7, 8 years. He is going to the court to get the recovery, and the recovery is still not happening. The builder absconded. The OC certification did not happen. The the all the papers were lost. So even 90% completion, he still lost his money. So there are certain customers who will only pay when they got the OC certificate, that is occupancy certificate, that the building is all fit and fine and ready to be given to any buyer. So this becomes a challenge where my capital got stuck. So this is one way. Second way would be I will, as a real estate person, I will go to a builder, I'll go to a landowner. I'll tell to a landowner, let us do a JV. You give me your land, and I will give you, let's say I'm in your land, I will make 30 flats. 15 I will give you, and 15 I will sell. So we do a 50-50 barter. That against your land, you will get a 15 flats. You sell those flats, earn your money. And because I'm doing all construction, so I'll take 15 flats. Anybody would have seen similar arrangements or any different idea of any arrangements? If you have seen of any JVs of any builders in your client or in your society, or would have seen this kind of arrangement, anybody would have ever seen? What kind of arrangements you generally see similar to this? Anybody has heard of this kind of arrangements, that where a person who is a builder, who is a land, he does not have the skills of construction, he goes and make a deal with someone. So this kind of deals happens. Now, if the industry takes 2 to 3 years time, my 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 product got delayed and my money gets stuck. And nowadays, RERA penalties are huge. How many of you have heard of RERA, aware of RERA, the implication of RERA? Anyone has any idea? At least you should have heard of RERA, at least. If you have not heard of RERA, okay. Uh, now, what is it? What is the blessing came for? What is the blessing came for the customers, innocent customers? So RERA is Real Estate Regulatory Authority. This is the full form of RERA, Real Estate Regulatory Authority. For each state, one authority is made. Why this authority is made? Earlier, you should ask your family members earlier, because I'm talking of old days, which you will not be aware. Earlier, builder will say, okay, I will buy this, I will make the construction of this building. You give me money. So I'll give him 50% payment and say, okay, take 50% now, 50% at the end when you complete. He committed me for 2 years. Okay, in 2 years, I'll make a construction. And now, if he's taking 4, 5, 6 years, as a customer, what I can do? I had no right to fight with him. Now comes RERA. So RERA puts a compliance that, okay, the builder will commit a time. So builder will say, okay, According to me, I will complete this building in 31st March 2026. He given this deadline. Now, if he delays from this, so this is official document he need to upload on government website and also on his website. So you need to submit this plan to RERA. Now, if he defaults from this, so let's say from 31st March 26, he completes by 30th June 26, then he need to pay penalty and interest to all those customers who have signed agreement with him. So RERA puts a checks and balances. So this becomes a good law for customers. Now, these are certain challenges which we are aware. Now, so can it have you seen highways getting constructed where so earlier how highways and dams used to be constructed? Hundreds of laborers would go to the site, would go to the location, and they put brick by brick, walls by walls, and make it. And that's why you would have seen it would have taken 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, a long period to complete that. Today, does it happens like that way? If today we need to make a bridge, over bridge, or a highway, does it happens like this? Or a dam? Or do we put hundreds of laborers or a new technology has come? So today we call it prefabricated. Yeah, Anshu, would you like to speak something? I'll be happy to hear you. If you raise your hand and like to speak, then please speak. So anybody like to speak without even us raising hand, you can just feel free to unmute and speak. Today now, how does the construction happens? We call it prefabricated material. The the walls, the blocks are made in factories, warehouses. They are made in a construction plant, and they are transported. They are transported to the location, and it's a plug and play model. You just fix blocks like this. Anybody would have seen this kind of technology where the the mounts are coming, prefabricated boxes are coming. Okay, you're not able to unmute also. Okay, okay, let me try that. Okay, I thought you have the power. Just give me a minute. Okay, sure. Just give me.
Yes, now I can unmute myself. I just wanted to answer that question, what you have asked, like whether you have seen that the dams are built by the walls or not.
Okay, so how do we see now?
So now it's a prefabricated walls, like they will set up that wall somewhere else and then using a big giant JCB machines or something, they will just put in the place where they want to construct the dam. So they'll move it by with the help with the ropes and everything, and then they'll put it over there.
So any idea how much time it reduces generally? How much time and a percentage wise? So let's say earlier it
Uh,
should take 100%.
Maybe
Now
40 to 60% time has been reduced with using this new modern technique instead of that brick by brick thing.
correct. So it is now I just say like it is like we used to have a game like Lego where you put boxes like this and make a wall like this and a Lego pieces. Now
Right.
the construction is actually happening like Lego pieces. So the walls are made and in and then now new development happens. So the wall was quite simple. The structure is quite simple. You just make fabricate it and move in trucks and all. Now they are making the entire room. Take example of a room. Take example of a bathroom. Take example of a stairs. They are making entire cabinets, entire rooms, 1 BHK in a factory pieces, lifting it up and moving it away. I'm sure moving rooms would not be a building would not have been a very new thing to heard. In UK and others, they have moving homes. The entire homes can be moved. But now the construction also happened. Now, why that happened? Why technologies changed? Because if I take a lot of time, if I take a lot of time in building this process, I lose my revenue, and cost keep on is exaggerating. My cost will not stop. Inflation will continue. So to challenge this, how can I go fast? Let me start getting a getting a 3D printing houses. Anybody would have seen 3D printing houses videos or aware of this? Have seen any 3D printing houses? The houses are built by 3D printers. It sounds very uh, unique thing that how can a house be printed by 3D printers? Anybody seen? Not seen? If not seen, then we will see some videos of that. If you have not seen, let me share one video for you all. If you have not seen, okay. So those who have seen, it's good. At least you have been updated. Let me those who have not seen, just for the interest of them, let me show you one video. I'm not sure whether you'll see the voice will come or not for this. Let me, but just so what does he says? He says, do you think in future people will do construction like this? So it is just the beginning. And just to give an idea, how does it construct? How does it construct? I'm sure now you got a little bit sense what will change when technology changes and when everybody or when affordable housing goes into 3D construction technology. Now, whatever you understood a little bit by seeing the video, now what benefit do you think could a businessman achieve by using this technology? Any quick thoughts on this? What benefits you think a technology the real estate owner guys could achieve? Any quick thoughts? Let's say tomorrow builder starts using this 3D technology. What do you think he could achieve? Cost reduction, better design. Okay, so save time. Any idea how much time you will save generally? How much time you will save? If a normal house takes 2 years, normal construction takes 2 years, how much time you think it will save? The construction can happen in how much period? It can happen in 6 months for 2 years. And I'm talking for entire building, 10, 12 floors building. From a 2 years, it will come to 6 months. For a for a 1 BHK, it could finish in 10, 15 days. So they've even gone to such an extent. Now, two, three rings. Will a will a labor work on Saturday, labor work on Sunday? Will a robot, if you are building a 3D printing robot, will it take tea breaks? Will it take tea breaks and all like long breaks? No. You need to monitor in time? No. So so this 3D printing will be a game changer. The error chances will be high or very low in 3D printing. So once it will be very minimal. There will be errors because machine is a machine and machine will only output what correct input you have given. The process will happen on its own, but input is important. So little bit of calibration, machine can work fine. There will be very low errors. You will put a human intervention to check the quality, and then it would be fine. It will be utterly fine. So there will be less. So the skilled versus unskilled gap will be fulfilled because once. So how does it happen generally in a 3D? You first finalize the blueprint. What I need to get it printed. That blueprint is finalized. You put into the system, and the 3D printer with robot technology will print exactly same to same. You know, not even an inch difference you'll get, not a meter or not a centimeter difference will come. But then, if some programming issues happens, it is just something like that. Uh, have you ever seen like in a normal printer when you give a print, 20 pages print, and after 7 pages, printer got jammed, and you get refix and start printing from page one. Uh, did it ever happens to you sometime where the machine again starts from page one or something? So that becomes a technical challenge. That's a wastage. So for things like this, you need to have a person to be in place to see, check where the issues happens. So when this things actually starts coming in, it saves a lot of time. The time is you don't need to be supervised all the time. You can have a system robot, and I can. So there are two ways to work in it. I can put this 3D at direct client side, make a printing, make a construction. It can happen fast. I can also do this in my warehouse for small items and start putting it. So 1 BHK, I'll show you one more video just to give an idea. There's one startup who is working in this. As the first point he mentioned was you need to be a disruptor. So somebody find this that okay, let me check which video, just give me a minute. So one startup was actually working on this, and according to them, they say they can save good amount of money by this. Okay, let me just show you. So this is a startup called Tatswa, which works in, and now just see the cost what they're trying to say on the cost. Okay. Have you anybody get a chance to hear this? What she was saying? You can build a house at 20% cost from a normal standard cost. So they are saying I can make 1.5 BHK at 5 to 5 lakhs. And we are not talking of land value here. Here we are talking only of material value, labor value, everything. Now you see the kind of money they can save. So this model, so this so they have built one house in 21 days. So you can imagine a house can be constructed in 21 days. So the point which you are trying to understand is if I need to disrupt, this is not a place where I put money, put more labor, I can get it done fast because it will take time. But here, if I go and start doing this, start working on technology, and so if I can ingrain technology in what I do regularly, the results could be far ahead, far better with from every other industry. And early mover will always get advantage. So if somebody would have entered early in this field, would have learned the process, he will make a huge opportunity out of this. So starting on the case study where we have today, so those of you, I assume many of you would have downloaded the case study and would have got a brief gist out of the case study. So Bharat Tech 3D, there was a company by Mrs. Sinha. They wanted to merge construction with technology. If you merge technology with constructions, the results we just discussed, seen will be absolutely much different. Now, urban market demand and market structure. Now, why time is crucial now? Why not? So we are living. See, what are the three basic needs of human? The three basic needs. Three basic things every human needs: roti, kapda, makan. Right? These are three starting points. Everyone needs that. You cannot escape this. Now we are living since many years, but then we never felt need of making housing faster. Why? Because earlier people were living segregated in villages, towns, tier 2, tier 3 cities, but now they all started moving. So the influx started moving from smaller cities to metro cities. Now, what will happen if the people started moving to metro cities? Will there be enough demand, enough construction already, or we need to create for them? We need to create for them, because the more and more people we move towards a new city, the infrastructure need to be built. Now, if I need to make buildings because people are moving, so I need to make buildings faster. So my demand will be rising. Supply has to also match up. Now, to match up that supply, the demand of housing will always stay. And and after housing completes, there will be a redevelopment also happens. Those who are from Maharashtra would know that in Maharashtra redevelopment is a major thing, because the buildings which have been very old now needs to get redevelopment, and they have a very government good schemes for redevelopment and all, and both the parties get benefit in redevelopment. You get extra. Any idea what is the benefit builder gets in redevelopment? Anybody from Maharashtra or Mumbai, Pune would have seen redevelopment areas, redevelopment arrangements. So in redevelopment, what happens? A building which is 40, 50 years old, a builder will come and say, okay, I'll build this building. So he does not charge from them. Then what does he does? If he does not charge, then how does he make money? Builder gets the remaining flat. So what does he get? So we call it FSI, floor space area. He get extra space. So let's say current building is, let's say, 8 floors, let's say. Government will allow him to go to 12 floors, 13 floors. They will give him extra space. That okay, you build extra, he sells extra, and then that's where he make the money out of it. So this construction have to be always there. Now, uh, very few builders operates at national level, but once you have a technology, you can always go for national level. Housing, we generally talk of apartments, villas, or whatever 1 BHK, 2 BHK people take. Majority of construction targets mid-range to luxury customers. Afforded housing scheme for low income group is largely undeserved. Do you think the big builder would like to take efforts in tap the market of affordable housing scheme for lower income groups? Probably no, because then they will not get much revenue out of it. So, does that mean will nobody will work into that, or some builders will still work into that? What do you think? If you are a builder, would you like to tap it? Yes, no, maybe. Now depends on you want to believe work in quantity based model or quality based model. Both models are right. Okay. I'll give a classic example. So my partner used to ask me, my boss whom I did training uh, used to ask me, Sumit, if I give you an option of two business, one business you sell 10 iPhones a month, and second business you sell 50 Oppo phones a month, Oppo, Vivo, which is small phones a month. Assuming top line is same, your net quota, the the sales amount is same. By selling 10 iPhones, you get 10 lakh rupees. By selling 50 Oppo, you get 10 lakh rupees. Top line we are talking. Which business model would you like to choose? So, so what are your thoughts? Given a choice, which business model would you like to choose? If I give you this option, So someone may choose iPhone, someone may choose Oppo or Vivo, whatever makes sense to you. Is there anything right or wrong in this question? There is nothing right, nothing wrong in this question. It is all about your choices. Depends on whether you like to work on a quantity based model or quality based model. Money you will make in both, but it depends on your perspective whether you like to get more money by serving less clients, or you want to have hustle and bustle and take more clients and show that I'm too busy, I have 100 customers on my show and make the same money. Choice is yours. On a lighter note, I always used to say iPhone की GST में I can buy one Oppo phone, right? The GST on iPhone is so high that you can buy one phone in that. Now, so some people will go for a iPhone model, that is a luxury home model, but some people will go for a quantity based model where their business is sell more and more and make more money. So in a luxury based model, I'll sell less items, I can still make more money. But in a Oppo model, low income housing group, I need to sell huge quantity, then only I can make huge gain. So this, so the builders who like to get into low income housing group, there are two ways to make money. First, I reduce the quality, put a low quality sugar cement. इस सीमेंट में जान है वो वाली नहीं लेता. I take a very low grade cement and damage the building quality, which may not sustain for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. That may give me a quick buck in short period. But the moment people come to know about my this strategy, they will never buy from me, and I'll get blacklisted. RERA will sue me, and it will have a huge issue. Once my name gets spoiled, I will never be able to work out. That becomes a huge challenge. Second model is I do not hamper the quantity, I do not hamper the quality, I give the best quality, but I work more on delivering faster services. If I can deliver on the faster services, I can get the turnaround time, quick turnaround time, then I can sell more flats and I can earn more money. I need to give basic quality standards. This cannot be questioned. So Miss Sinha realized that because of people traveling in big metro cities like Pune, Bangalore, Gurgaon, these centers will need huge affordable housing requirements. So we need to work in these areas and try to work on technology where we can capture this and earn better. Quality concerns in low income will always challenge. You cannot have quality concerns. You cannot make if the construction quality is poor, this is a very critical area, because if your building is not fine, it will damage, jeopardize. There will be casualties, which government will not appreciate at all, and nobody will even appreciate you cannot play with somebody's life. So to avoid this structural accidents and hazards, you need to have best quality, and you need to measure the quality regularly. And that's why the government has a policy that after 20 years, ideally they need to check the building is in a stable condition or no. Miss Sinha, who is the founder, she's a seasoned professional, 25 years of experience being an architect. She is taking construction industry. She she wants to leverage technology for whatever she does, and affordable housing can only become better when she can leverage technology by innovating. Their vision was the the tagline of the company was provide over each head a safe and secure roof without a huge debt. Now, low income group always like to have lower assets with a low cost. They don't want to incur a huge debt, because first of all their incomes are not so strong. Second, they don't want the EMIs to eat up their cash flows what they're getting. So they always want something which is less expensive. Now they developed this model, Bharat Tech 3D. It specializes in 3D printed homes. Their focus was to build 600 to 800 feet single and two bedroom houses. They aimed at delivering quality, affordable quality, and quality housing. Traditional construction practices they want to revolutionize. Like for example, in a traditional construction, how does it happen? If you've seen real construction happens at sites, which I'm sure many of you would have seen in your home or nearby. First, they upload cement at your place, then they bring sand at your place. Then a person will come and he'll try to put water and mix. Then they get a container mixture, concrete mixture. Then it will try to mix. Sometimes we'll put more water. The cement gets a little bit damp. Then they will put more cement to make it moist, remove the moist. Then they do trial and error, and then the paste comes. At times, at times issue happens that so generally the period of June to September is a challenging period for construction industries because the rain have comes, and in the rain whatever they have done work in open gets distorted. So they prefer generally winters or summers to do this kind of construction. That's why their quality and the cement quality remains crystallized and concrete becomes better. So this technology where you make something on in a factory, rain will not disturb you. The environment can be controlled, temperature that will help you a lot. So the traditional ways are always that in traditional. One of the problem with traditional is first in a tradition what happens, an architect makes a blueprint, then it is the article who it is architect who makes the construction, or he gives the blueprint and the labor makes the construction. And generally, have you seen somewhere disconnect that what map architect would have given and what the people on the floor they build something different? Has it ever happened? Have you ever seen cases where in your known somebody where they were expected to build rectangle and the architect would have and the people would have built square or vice versa? Does it ever happens? Because they guys were not involved in the drawing, and they are you can't expect that people who are not literate enough or not much educated to understand what the architect is trying to convey. So traditional at times it happens that there is a difference of what people budgeted, what they given, materials, machines, and project takes longer period, generally a year. To avoid this gap, they started into 3D construction where the design is integrated in the office. It is much faster and more cost effective. As we discussed, cost effective would be at least minimum 50%. And this way, it will you pass on the scheme to the customers. Customers will buy more, and it reduces your reliance on manual labor. And as I mentioned again, skilled labor is biggest challenge. And if any business is fully dependent on labor, you need to ensure whether the supply of labor is ensured properly or not. So that becomes a huge challenge in this industry. And they wanted to bring a fast, efficient, and sustainable housing. And sustainability, mark my words, sustainability would be a buzzword even after ages when you become CAs. So sustainability is not a fad, not will just go in a month. Till 2030, 2030, 2040, everything will now work on sustainability. Everything. Not only housing, every industry need to work on sustainability. But how can they function in a manner that it remains sustainable? Whether you use uh, uh, so even we did a project in Saudi Arabia. In Saudi Arabia, the government, and you can Google this, you'll find Saudi Arabia vision of sustainable housing. Saudi Arabia government has an intent that every citizen of Saudi should have a home. Even if you are a beggar, even if you're a poor guy, even if you're an orphan, everyone should have his own home. So at least every person from a family should have his own home. Now, if you are not wealthy enough, you are very poor or very needy, the government will construct for you. Now, the government will ask the builders to construct, but in a very low budget fashion, but by maintaining every facility. So they want it to be sustainable, that it should not be much costly, it should not be taking much environment resources. So that's why they are working on this technology, how to use fly ash and all, and with other things. So they wanted to bring much faster with less wastage And if you use 3D, there will be less wastage. If I work on manual, there will be more wastage. And if you do a wastage in construction industry, it is very difficult to recycle it. Once I made a stairs and the stairs went wrong, I need to I so have you seen that if you put a tiles on a floor and now you need to uplift, the tile has to be broken only. So this kind of the tiles cannot be again be used. So it is very difficult to reuse the waste in construction. So they thought, let us move on. So they thought, let us move on to 3D construction. 3D printing technology started with manufacturing many things. They started with making toys. So you can make a toy with 3D. You can make machines with 3D. So this 3D printing technology started. You just do automated concrete layering. You just need to put a blueprint, and once the system comes, they will prepare exactly the design you gave. Biggest challenge comes the starting point of 3D is you make the blueprint ready, get it wetted. You need to feed the design into the 3D printer. Printer will build it by layer. That's how they will build it. You just need to put one manual intervention to reduce errors at times. So there might be some system goof up, system outage, power got shut down, so the construction may stop, or the supply of cement is not properly kept. So if something happens like this, then you need a person to see manually. It is normally the process will be on autopilot mode. Okay. So I'm sure you must be knowing that many planes can fly on autopilot mode. They have a technology that you just set it, let the pilot sit on a chair, not do nothing. The plane can automatically fly on that. But still, so just like Tesla, you have autopilot car that runs on instructions. But still, we put a driver, still we put a pilot, so that if something goes wrong, he's just there to take care of it. So similarly, in a 3D, the the system will print on its own, but we need a third party. We need a manual person to check and ensure something goes wrong. He's there to rectify. Why world is moving for 3D printing? Because 66% it is faster construction timeline. Your material waste will be the lower, because when you have a robot printing, material waste would be very, very less. Human error will be very, very minimum. It may not, a site of a human may do an error because of, and it's not saying he intentionally does an error, judgmental issue and many things he may do error. But in terms of system, if your plant is set, things are set, then error will not happen. The quality would be good because consistency will be maintained. In human construction, it may happen that today I'm in a good mood, I'll paint wall very well. Tomorrow I have a fight at home, I had a fight with my wife, I may not paint wall with a good quality. So you'll see the difference. So here mood will impact, which will not have impact here. Predictable, and it will have a predictable and scalable project delivery. Time efficiency. Normally construction takes 18 months. 3D printing construction takes 6 months. That's now you can see one third time you are saving. If I'm saving one third time, if I'm saving one third time out of it, what does it means? By saving one third time, it means I can build two times more extra. What you would have taken in 18 months, I can build three times. So my profit margin becomes substantially very high. And this is the game changer in construction industry. If you can reduce the time, maintaining the quality, it will help a lot. So this company introduces 3D printing to automate construction, removing manual labor. You cannot fully remove, but to major extent you can remove them. Use blueprint driven layered concrete printing. We just seen in the video how does the concrete printing happens. The delivery will be better quality, fewer errors, and faster turnaround. That's what would be the way it will conclude. Automated construction in action. So this is the normal machine. ABB Limited is a company who manufactures these kind of robots and all machines, technology who can help in constructions. You just need to focus on, you need to focus on design of blueprint. You once you agree on this blueprint, and again, this cannot be a second thought. It has to be a final thought, because once you put the system, you cannot keep on changing. It's not like, oh, yesterday we want to build 3 layers, 3 different dimensions. Now, no, I want 4. That cannot happen. Then you need to, then entire model need to rebuild. You put into the 3D construction, layer concrete printing begins, and then you get minimum wastage and proper precision built structures that you get it. Time and cost of which we discussed, 1/3 it is saving. Labor cost reduced by 40%. That's the biggest thing in this. The labor cost uh, gets labor cost gets controlled. And if this could be controlled, many other things could be controlled. Lower rework cost, uh, as I mentioned, lower error means lower rework. In a manual, it is a heavy errors. Your material is used, so wastage is reduced. You don't have much wastage on this, which will be a saving for you. So this will be one of the common sense of having 3D printing economically. I know somebody can always argue that this way we are ending opportunities for laborers. So how many of you feel this, that if we put 3D, there'll be a challenge in labor jobs will not be there. Anyone has views on that? If we applied 3D where I used to take 20 labors, then I'll work only with 5 labors. Will that create issues? What do you think? Let us think from both sides. We are talking from a builder side. Anybody thinking from, there will be some impact. Okay. Now, anybody has a different view? Yes, no, maybe. Yes, no, maybe. Anyone has a different view? It will cause unemployment. Yeah. Chitra, have you ever been traveled on highways earlier, last 5-10 years? Have you traveled on highways earlier? Anybody would be traveling on highways last between 5-10 years, not immediately. Talking last 5 to 10 years, where you would have need to pass through tolls. Anybody would have traveled where you need to pass through tolls? We have tolls on the roads. So Neha, if you would have traveled 5-10 years past, were there very smooth process to go through tolls, or there used to be long queues? Any idea? If you recall, were the tolls used to be in very long queues? To spend half an hour at least to pass through the queues, depending on the road which you're going, queues. Now, do you take that kind of queues today? Now, today, if you travel by those tolls, do you spend that? No. Why no? Why no? Because now what do you have? Now you have fast tag. Okay. Earlier, one toll used to apply minimum 40 labors. One toll, 40 labors used to be there. 3, 3, 4 on each booth, and also 40 labors used to be maintain the toll. Today, how much labor you see? Today, any idea how much labors you see? Very minimal. Now, hardly you'll see 4 or 5 labors, because everything, or 10 maximum. Okay, we'll take 10, because everything would be now controlled by FASTag. You don't need to even speak. You just cross, FASTag's cut, gate gets open, automatic motor, and you move ahead. You have just 2, 4, 5, or maximum 10. You just 4, 5, because for certain vehicles, FASTag is not required. Like for example, if you are a prime minister, chief minister, or a judge, you don't need to pay toll. Toll is free for you. Now, does that mean that people lost employment? So I have a friends who are into highway industry. So they say, what they say is that you may say that okay, there is an unemployment, But then a new employment opportunity came in those industry. And what is that? And now that is of, can you think of what is the new industry came for employment now? So we see the one side. And what is the new industry? So that is, Neha, that is for people coming from outside NCRs. That's why they put toll for commercial vehicles near that. That's in Europe. Now the opportunity comes in reconciliation of your bank accounts where you have fast tags with the system. Now the RICO is also required. So now they need manual, they need systematized RICO. So they need now educated people, educated villagers, or people who are graduates who could read and write, and they can do reconciliation. So technology will give a disruption, but if you are willing to change and upgrade, there will be always room for you. I went to Finland last year, and it was my first trip to Europe, Finland. We took a car by on rent, so we both were driving. Me and my wife were driving, and we were surprised. At 12 o'clock in the night, we need to cross a toll. It was the first time. No, it was a 20-lane toll, both sides, 10 sides. This is a big highway. And since I was driving, I was driving on the very last lane, which is the most slowest lane. I did not see any person on the lane. And since I was new, I forgot to recharge the tag card there. And that's why my lane was not opening. And I was struggling that there used to be someone there. Then after 10 minutes, a guy came in from the toll department and say, "Oh, we don't have anyone staff here because it's a toll, automatic toll. We don't need anyone." Until only when some accident happens, then the system gives an alert. So they have a technology that when any accident happens on the highway, then system gets alert that something happened. Then people start coming out. So many places technology will change, but then you need to also upgrade. So in a way, when people are going for automated, if someone could know the art of mastering how can handle automated printing, construction automated, they will always get a opportunity. It's not that, as I again said, it's not that it's not that they will they will remove the they will remove the dependency. I'll give you a latest example. Nowadays the uh, the X-ray reports. So the pathologist tests the reports. Doctors and pathologists test the report. So they take almost 15 minutes to properly examine a report. A startup has come. It takes 10 seconds. 10 seconds to analyze the entire report and give a answer. They'll give an entire answer in a report that okay, this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong. 10 seconds. The pathologist takes 15 minutes. Now, what are they saying that I'll be doing your work much faster, but we will never remove pathologists. We'll still keep pathologists because we need a third person. We need a person to monitor and answer because system can go crazy anytime. So we cannot just totally rely on system. We need to have some control over system. So that's why we need to have some checks, and that's why there's a competitive pricing. Now they have a choice to make an investment because they need to buy printers, and printers are costly printers. So they are exploring options how to buy them. If I take a loan, this could option be there because when I need to buy printers, the printers would be heavy. You have seen the videos and the machines in the videos. They are not normal machines. They are highly technically advanced machines. So it will be pretty expensive. And your capex have to be very carefully planned because once you did a capex planning without understanding your operations, so you need to know how much demand will happen in future. So based on that, you need one printer, two printer, three printers. Can you use multiple printers same time? Or the way you need to figure it out. It cannot happen that your demand is less and you're buying more capex just in it is coming cheap because then it will be a heavy EMI expense on you and the cash flow starts coming difficult. That will be a challenge. And as the biggest challenge in this industry is high cost of land and centers. and salary of materials and labors keeps on increasing. That becomes a challenge. In a automated technology, out of materials and labors, will be controlled, the pricing, or only labor can be controlled? Only labor can be controlled. Material will keep on increasing every year. You may have automated, but you can control labor. A robot will not come to you and say, last year you did a work from me for 10 hours and now you are again getting work from me, give me a higher price. He will not ask anything. System will not demand anything. Labor will always demand. So, and it is a right of any employee to ask for a raise, because growth is everybody looking for. And now, because of high interest rates, if my finance cost is high, I does not leave enough profit for me. One of the biggest challenge of the businessman is also inventory. If I buy a lot of stock, let's say I buy cement, I buy bricks, I buy glasses, I buy aluminum facade, we buy so many things, my cash flow gets stuck. Do you think the people who supplying inventory, the cements, will they give me credit? What do you think? Let's say if I want to buy from Ambuja Cements or ACC Cement or Ultratech or anyone, do they give me credit? They don't give you credit at all. It's all cash business. When I say cash business, not only real cash, always advance payment, always. No cement company will give you a credit. Even if you say that, okay, I'm buying regularly from you, they will not give you. Either LCBG or advance payment. Why that? Because why do you think? Because why they don't give you advance? They don't give you credit. Why do you think they don't give you credit? Any quick thoughts? Why they don't give you credits? Because if you give me anyone has a logics, why they don't give credits? Why none of the cement company will give you credits? They will always advance payment. Not one is because they have a monopoly business. That's one. Second, it's a low cost. Absolutely, the cost is low. There is very less margin, so they can't afford, because every company is making cement. And can you say, if I just say this cement mein jana, you will buy? You will not buy just by saying cement mein jana. You will buy because which is the cheapest one, and according to you, ensuring the quality and cheapest. No, cement is not perishable. The problem is absolutely. So two things, Chitra, here. One is, if the builder abandons the project, money will be lost. Second, I I buy your cement and put into a make a wall. Now you come and say, give me my cement. Can I say, go and take from the wall? I'll give you after 1 year. You can't. He cannot take his product back. If I given a car to you and you have not paid me car money, can I pick my car? I can do that. But if I give a cement to you and you have already mixed the cement into the make a wall from that cement, can I take that out? I can't take that out. So the cement lobby always knows that once you have given a cement, and if the builder stop anything, you'll not be able to get any recovery. And then they work on a very low margin. Even a 50 paisa difference, a builder will move to another cement supplier. Just check out the rates of all cements will be almost same. There will be a territory difference would be there, but the cement price will always be same. They will not have much variation. It cannot be like Samsung and iPhone and Oppo. They'll be always in the same range, because every cement will have the same capability, same quality. That becomes a challenge for this. So they need to ensure that quick inventory, because they need to buy all cash. They need to ensure. Now, so they thought, what's the strategic outlook they look for? Their best is that leverage the cost and take the benefit of 3D technology, because if you can build 6 months the project, that means you can make 3 times more what in a normal traditional finance. So use this business. Your cash flows can be much faster if you accelerate your project cycles. You just need to focus on financing and location. Which location you choose, where you can get enough demand and that you can supply. And your technology should turn into scalable business model, where you can plug and play, where you can start on this, and not only you build for you can build for other builders. You can start and make this technology, and other builders can come and you take royalty from them. So they have a team behind this innovation. They have highly qualified engineers and architects. Third party expertise is essential for any multi-city project execution. And if you have a quality qualified engineers, you need to pay them well. To retain a talent, you need to always pay the talent. So there's a very famous saying, in peanuts you will always get monkeys. So if you pay less, you will not get a good staff. A quality, you need to always pay for the quality. So if you have to attract and retain a talent, you need to give a competitive package, and that will be your cash outflow issue. And if a team will work only when they are motivated, and motivation will happen from two things. One is monetary, and second is non-monetary. What do you think? Only one motivation will be fine to motivate people, or we need both motivations, monetary and non-monetary, or only one would be fine? Mandatory, both are needed. Mandatory. It cannot happen. You just tell people, oh, you are very good, very good. You write 10 appreciation mails. You post him in LinkedIn. He's the best star of my team. And you do not increase his good salary. He will not stay. And you keep hiking salary and you don't treat them well. You don't give respect to them. You shout on them, abuse on them. Will people stay? People will not stay. Because if I know I have a talent, if you don't treat me well, there'll be other somebody in the market to take care of me. So you need to give motivation to both the team. And can we grow big without a team? I have the best idea, but I don't have a team. Can I grow? Can I scale up? Certainly no. You need to have a good team to always grow in whatever industry you are. Now they have a challenge that one of the major inventory is cement and steel. And in cement and steel, I always need a top quality inventory. I cannot have a degraded inventory. My inventory has to be a top quality, but the suppliers are limited. So let's say I want to buy only from A class companies, which are very good companies. Though I am a small buyer, so I'll not get a bargaining power. See, unless if you are a very big builder and you buy tons and tons of cement, I can always negotiate on price. I can always give my demand that okay, they will say okay, take 100 kilo in cement, I'll give you X price. And if I say okay, I'll take 1,000 kilo, you'll give me Y price. So they'll give me some discount. But since I'm a small volume buyer, I cannot have a negotiation power. And my biggest challenge in this, that the lead time is uncertain. That let's say if my inventory gets finished today, and if I order, I don't know whether it will come in 2 days, 3 days, 7 days, because based on the stock with stockist, because it's a limited supply and high grade quality comes with a less availability. So I don't know how much long time it will take. And if I don't keep stock with me timely, it will it will impact my business cycle. It will impact my working capital cycle. So if inventory is not there for 10 days, my work will stop for 10 days. And this 10 days will cost me heavy. Because if I don't build 10 days, do I need to pay the labor or no? Let's say I don't have inventory. Can I tell labor, I'll not pay you because my cement is not come? Or he will say, we are booked for you. You bring or not bring, that's your problem. You need to pay to us. And that's the problem of this industry. If I have put a person on my work, even if I'm not able to give work, I need to pay him. And that is the reason I need to have a buffer stock. And having a buffer stock requires capital outflow. So that part I need to take care that we have a buffer stock. And in a buffer stock, I need to buy. Then we have an inventory of bricks and glasses. The issue with bricks and glasses are they are fragile and storage intensive because I need to put a lot of space and they are fragile. I do little bit here and tear, my bricks can break, wall glasses can break, but these are easily available with multiple suppliers. But there is no issue of delivery. I can easily get it. I can procure the demand as and when I want. So just in time approach is feasible, is available feasible. So the moment I decide I need it, you know, I'm sure in costing you would have gone through just in time approach, minimum order quantity, reorder quantity, and just in time approach. Any idea? Nowadays it's a blanket, so in home it does not impact nowadays. Earlier, ask your family, ask your mom earlier, and I'm talking earlier period when blanket was not there. So mothers would be probably the best person to keep the inventory in house. They know which ingredient, which is it a sugar, it is a tea leaves and all, how much need to be kept. Because they know that if some guest come in, do I even stock? Otherwise, I need to get somebody run and get it. So I will items which I can just get from next door shop. I don't need to keep in bulk because that's a just in time. You can just order like kirane ka bhaiya or the nearby shop. They can immediately bring to your home. You just phone them and they can bring to you. But some things which are from far off, which are not easy to obtain quickly, that you will keep in your inventory at a proper control. So so he has to keep two inventories. One is cement and other is brick and glass. So according to you, which can be kept on, uh, which I need to invest heavy, cement or brick or glass, where I need to keep more stock? It would be cement for two reasons. One, as I mentioned, my cement is with limited supply, and it is I don't know the lead time when it will come. And brick and glass, I have multiple supplies available. I can get whenever I want. I can get them back. Now they need to decide what they need to storage risk based on size. And the biggest problem of storage is of space, and space cost heavy. Can I put cement outside road on the roads? Can I put cement on the roads? It would be a heavy risk if I do that, because then if rain comes and water comes into it, it will damage the entire asset. So that way is not permitted. So I need to put in my house or space, and space cost. Every inch cost in metro cities. So that's why it becomes a challenge. So you need to decide how much optimum you need to keep in. That's the call they need to take. Now the pricing cost of this is approximately 10 lakhs for 1 BHK and 12 lakhs for 2 BHK. So this is, and they try to keep a uniform pricing across cities. Now, so this is a case study, but in a real life, the video which we saw, they say that 1 BHK will cost 5 to 1 BHK will cost 5 to, anyone would have seen how much they would have said, how much they will cost 5 to 5.5 lakhs 1 BHK. That's the startup guy was mentioning that we can build 5.5. What is the benefit of this? What is the benefit of this technology? If the technology works fine, what is the benefit? The benefit would be, the benefit would be, the benefit from this technology is I can make it a pan India product. Can I say that if I have the technology, can I say that, okay, we can come to your place, make this in? So normally, if normally it is costing, in a traditional, it is costing 15 lakh, okay, low income housing group for 1 BHK and 18 lakh for 2 BHK. Now, what do you think? If I make this as a advertisement that we can give you a lower income housing group at affordable pricing of 12 lakhs, 10 to 12 lakhs. Now, what do you think? The demand of 2 BHK will grow more or 1 BHK will grow more? What do you think? 1 BHK was coming 15 lakh and 2 BHK was 18 lakh. Now, I'll tell people that, okay, 10 lakh I'll give you 1 BHK and 12 lakh I'll give you 2 BHK. What do you think, Ben? Obviously, the 2 BHK demand will increase more and more. And why they increase? Any idea why they do the increase? Why do they increase? It is exactly the same psychology that we call exactly the same psychology that we call in a PVR or Inox. When you go PVR and Inox and go to the in a intermission in the break time, when you go and buy popcorn, do you always buy the smaller cup or you may buy middle cup or the larger cup? What do you think? You can give your honest answer. If somebody is buying a smaller cup, also you can buy. It's not nothing to demean somebody when you buy a smaller cup. If you're like me, if I don't look popcorn, I'll buy a smaller cup. But generally, we will buy a larger cup. And why do we buy a larger cup? Middle or larger, you'll always buy. You'll always take a medium or larger. Why you do? Why you do that? Because visibly you can see that if you pay a little bit more extra, you can get a bigger quantity. And that is the only logic, right? Remember when you make this decision making, how does it happens? And just like you make a decision making, every consumer makes a decision making. So if my budget is 10 lakhs and I can get one extra house by extra room by paying 2 lakhs extra, I'll buy that. So this way I'll be able to sell more and more 2 bhks and make money in that way. Okay? Okay. Now can we take a quick 10 minutes break now, and then we can start with the rest problem solutions and then can close. So we'll take a quick 10 minutes break and resume at 8 o'clock. Okay. Let's take comfort break and resume at 8 o'clock. Okay. Sure. So, welcome back once again. So, now we discussed that they are going to do a disruptive pricing in housing society. So, from 18, they are going to 12 lakhs, which will be a significant 33% reduction. And everybody would like to buy something at a lower price if available, despite maintaining the quantity and quality is maintained. So, their target outcome would be the customers will be the the people who are willing to go on rent were forced to go on rent because just because they don't want to take huge home loans and EMIs for their children. They want to keep save money. They would be motivated to buy it because then they know that at a lower price they can get a good amount of house. The target of the company is at least 8% profit margin per flat, which is a very decent margin. If your net profit is 8% in the real estate industry, it's a good number. In a books in white, it has an impact that the traditional players will not be able to compete. A person who is not using technology will not be able to meet this price because he cannot build a construction at 12 lakhs because of labor and other demands. Market impact will be there. People will be shifting to mid or luxury segments. Approvals, he got all approvals because whenever you do something new, you need to take approvals. So they got approvals from the authorities that this technology can work. Town planning, regulatory clearances, they got secured. Now they decided that once they got these approvals and all, they will go for promotions and everything need to go on promotions. They will go on lower income urban customers. They'll target those areas, advertise in local news channels and vernacular newspapers. So a lower income group may not read newspaper like English or Hindi, so he may watch local news channels which or local radio channels which is in his own language dialect. That it will have a deeper penetration, and it goes by mouth publicity. One of the best way of advertisement is when your customer starts talking about your product. That's the best. So if I give a newspaper advertisement, I am only talking about myself. I am self-praising. So I'm blowing my own trumpet. It may impact, it may not impact. But when a customer tells to another prospective customer, look, I bought a flat in this lower income housing group, he's coming with 12 lakhs, quality is good, you can also think for. Then it validates. And validation is the most important thing any customer seeks. Does it happens whenever you go for shopping? When you go for shopping for any dresses, you take your friend or your relative, and when you try a dress, you seek their validation. It happens, yes, no, maybe. When you go and buy any dress, you may like it, but if your person along with you says, "Nah, not looking good in that," do you still buy that dress? Generally, you like the dress, but the person saying, "Nah, it does not suits you," you will not buy it because because the validation is missing. Similarly, when a customer tells to another person that this is good, that concretes this deal. So that's what they're looking for. So in terms of their strategy, they want to have on-site sale experience. And remember, when you try something new, will people accept it or will people be skeptical to use it? What do you think? Will be skeptical. They say, "क्या पता कैसा होगा?" Labor को because we have seen people doing construction by labor since ages, so we know tried interested. Now you are saying I'm going to do an experiment with a remote labor machine, which may or may not. So people will be skeptical. So you need to build trust. So building trust is very very important, and then they will have multiple questions. When something is new, people will ask random questions. Then you need to provide proper customer support because what is the biggest challenge here? Let's say if I made a house with a builder and let's say after 2 months something broken there. Okay, I bought from a customer builder and something broken. Can you call broker and say, भैया अभी तो लिया था आपसे टूट गया, आप ठीक करके दो, and he will do that. Agree? If I buy a house and something happens wrong in 1 month, 2 months, a leakage here and there, builder is going to do it for me. Now, whom should I tell on a robot in an automated 3D? So I need to get a comfort that okay, if something goes wrong, the machine will be there, or the promoter, the company will be there to get it rectified. So this kind of assurance, trust, familiarity need to be built on this 3D innovative homes. Now they need to build credibility through financial partnerships. Now, have you seen that whenever a big project comes, the project themselves goes and take approval from the bank, and then they say this project is approved by ICC Bank, HDFC Bank, IndusInd Bank, Yes Bank, or any other banks. Have you seen that any builders come and take loans from the bank, and bank says pre-approved finance for people who are taking flats from this? And why is that so? So bank knows people will buy, and then they are the ready-made customers. So a bank need not go and hunt for customers. Customer will automatically come. So they tie up with banks. So here in this case, they tie up with one bank that okay, whenever we launch any product, you will approve sanction our loan. And if the bank is pan India bank, it becomes very easy for a builder to build because wherever which city he goes, he can immediately have a line of credit open with him. This way, he can assure, this company can assure people that okay, our project is approved by the bank. So that means legally we are all fine. And we will assist you in getting a home loan from this bank at a cheaper rate. So this will also help the customer to get in. So you will ensure that you do a loan facilitation and process support. Now somebody can question or think, why as a builder I should focus on loan facilitation? Is this my job? Should I focus on that or I should not focus on that? What is your view? Any quick thoughts on that? I am a hardcore builder. Shall I focus on loan facilitation or I should not? Or I am diversifying the interest area, man? What do you think? It is a selling trick. Similarly, when you go for buying a car, don't you think at times the car agency will tell you that we can arrange a loan for you? Anybody would have gone to buy a car, family, they will know. They will say, okay, sir, if you need a shortfall, we'll give a range for that. So it helps you sell the things faster. So you are supporting the customer in taking a faster decisions. Because let's say you say, no, no, sir, this is not our job. So so in a business man, so in life, in life, so there's a life lesson also. In a life, whenever you want to grow, you need to always do something more than what is required. If you do only what is required, you will get what everybody is getting. But if you really want to make the dent in the industry, do something which is not your role, but you're doing that. If you tell a customer, no, no, it is not our job to get a loan from you, you go in the market and find out. Customer will go in the market because if I need to buy, I'll hunt myself. But it may take time and it may happen. I may go to any other vendor in the time. But if you support me in getting this loan, I am always bought to you. I'll always be your customer. So you need to always support customer in end to end, getting the deal done. So here they say we will help you all in getting this. Bank will make easy process. I remember when it was a when I started a job in PwC at the time, opening a bank account. So I shifted from Jaipur to Mumbai. Opening a bank account was a huge challenge. You know, especially when you are left your hometown and going to new city, you don't have address proof, you don't have documentations, you just started living there. Then our organization tied up with the bank saying that our HR will give you all data. You need to open the bank account in 1 day, and that's where the bankers started working in, and that's where that banker it becomes easy. So you need to always support and you give a view. This will always help a market impact and has enhance buyer confidence in a project. And just to tell you, I know certain millionaires. I know certain millionaires and huge, highly cash rich people. When they buy when they buy a property, they always take a nominal bank loan for buying that property. Any idea why they do that? They are full cash rich. They have money in the bank, but still when they buy, they take very small bank loan from there for buying that property. Any idea why? Money they have. No, no, that's why I said, yeah, money they have in abundance. It's not that they are fine. They'll say, मैं बैंक से लोन लेके मार्केट में लगा दूंगा. No, they don't do that. Why? Because when I buy a property and get it loan from a bank, who will do more due diligence on that authenticity of the. Okay, let me unmute you. Just give a minute. Just give me a minute. Uh, just give a minute. May if you can just raise hands in the system so you'll come on the top, because I'm not able to. Just give a minute. Yeah, I got you. I got you. Just yeah, just. I hope you can unmute now.
Good evening, sir.
Good
I
evening.
want to say that cost of the my money is more than the cost of money which I get from the bank, as the rate of interest is lower than the ROI which we earn from investing our capital. That's why they take loan for purchase of assets from the bank and invest their own money at a higher rate from where they get the higher rate of return.
Okay. So this works in a case where a person may not be uh, filthy rich. If it's a very middle income, high class group, then he may do that, right? This strategy. If I can buy at 8% or 9%, and that too I get a tax reduction. If I'm a salaried employee, salaried kind of a person, it makes sense to me to do that, right? But I'm giving an example of millionaires. I'm talking of millionaires. For them, a 10% loan does not satisfy them. It's a very peanut amount. Why they do that? Because what they say, when I buy a property and the bank is financing them, the legal team of the bank will be thoroughly scrutinizing the property papers. That the builder has not done any fraud, the property is freely sellable. That tomorrow, if I do not pay the loan for some reason, the bank can get a right to sell. And bank will only get a right to sell when the entire chain of documents is proper. Anybody had ever seen a property documents? Is it only a two-page document or it's an entire chain of documents? When we say chain of documents means, let's say I bought this land in 1947. 1947, A sold to B, B sold to C, C sold to D, D sold to Z. No, this entire chain would be there in the property papers. And if something is missing, your bankers will not approve the loan. I have seen cases where banker has said, okay, this property came from 1950 document that is missing. We will not approve that loan. So they always take a loan because that gives a confidence, to the buyer that the product is fine, that I'm not getting being cheated. Because the biggest issue is later if the government says, how many of you would be aware of that super tech builder in Noida? Super tech builder, two buildings got crashed. Remember that two buildings already established, fully established, 30, 40 floors building. What happened to those buildings? What happened to those buildings? Did the government say, okay, you have already constructed 30, 40 floors building, now we will let you go scot free? Or we need to demolish it? Entire buildings got demolished, entire buildings. Had the legal would have done a proper due diligence, people would not have bought it. But at the time, it is coming cheap, or the builder is good, builder is named there. And do you agree? At times people do illegal things because that they're saying if everybody is doing that, it will become a right thing to do it. Do we agree? At times people do illegal things because they just go that everybody is doing that, so it will become acceptable norm, and it will be okay. And that what happens when say, okay, everybody has made it, government has not done anything. Now it is already built the floor. So people take risk saying that I'm getting it cheaper, but that should never be done because people lost and not a single penny they received. So one need to be very careful when you deal in property matters because law is not simple and straightforward. You need to be very thorough. So that's what they thought to do. They agreed for a tie-up, And when they do for a tie-up, they will always get some stake. And the stake was very simple. The stake was, the BD said, we will give customers to you bank. You need to give us some commission, and even give a small commission. So whatever loan gets approved, give a very small commission to remain our interest in the promoting customers to you. And according to us, because they all are lower income groups, we believe at least 85% of our customers will actually take the loan, because these are low income groups. So they have to take loan. Now, since they are working on this technology, this is a 3D is a new technology. So they need to classify as a research and development. Bhavna, who is the engineer who was leading the project, according to her, she said, we are making this technology for being cost efficient, effective and efficient. Whatever we identified, total cost incurred in during the year ended March 25 is 24 lakh rupees. The entire cost which is incurred has been classified as a intangible assets. Now, when we are doing a research and development, to be, let's say I'm doing a research and development, and from 1st April to 30th of June, I'm doing research. I spend 10 lakh rupees. On 1st July, my research got concluded that yes, it could be successful and I can develop this project now. So from 1st April to 30th of June, this 10 lakh rupees which I which I've incurred, can I can I capitalize that, or it need to be charged to P&L? What do you think? The research was there from April to 30th June. On 1st July, the research got concluded that yes, research is successful. I can go for development further on this technology. What do you think? Can I capitalize that, or I need to charge to P&L? I need to expense it. On 1st July, can I reverse the expense and put into capitalization? Possible? So even if you are into same accounting period, whatever you are doing on research will always go to P&L. The moment your research get completed, you get surety that research can fructify, it can go into development phase now. That will be capitalized only. So that part you need to keep in mind. Here, they got approval on 1st June that the research is fine from regulatory, health, safety, all approvals. So you can go ahead with the research. You can go into development. So the research got approved on 1st June, but the entire expense of 24 lakhs has been capitalized. So we all agree that this is not a right approach. They need to figure it out and find out the balance amount to be going into P&L, and the remaining should go into your asset as a intangible assets. Till 31st March, where should I book that? My project got completed on 30th April. Okay. 30th April 2025. 31st March 2025. What head I should put it? Any idea? Index 38. Intangibles. What does it say? Where should I put that? Completion happened on 30th April, which is after the year end, 31st March 2025. Where should I put it? What should be the classification? As per accounting standards or as per Companies Act, where do you think I should park this amount? What should I say? Any clue anyone has? Can I show it as a property plant equipment? But Neha, that's my question. My completion happened on completion happened on 30th April. 31st of April, it was not completed. So till 31st of March, Where should I book? Till 31st of March. Completion certificate we did on 30th April. I completed the entire product. So till 30th March, till 31st March, it will be shown under intangible assets under WIP. Remember now in a Companies Act, they have a separate requirement to show disclose. If you have intangible assets under WIP, you need to show separately. So it will be shown as the intangible assets under WIP. Now, do I need to do impairment testing as on 31st March 2024 for this 2025 for this intangible assets under WIP? Yes, no, maybe. What do you think? So it is mandatory. It is mandatory under Ind AS 36. That is impairment testing. Impairment testing. What is mandatory under Ind AS 36? So there are two ways of. So there are two things for impairment testing. One is external indicators. When something external indicator comes, then you need to perform impairment testing. External indicator would be like uh, COVID situation happens, Russia, Iran, Iraq war happens, or strong fall in technology, change in dynamics of economy. These are external indicators. Then mandatory, I need to do impairment testing of the assets. Internal indicator would be your plant gets fire, your technology gets obsolete, your production capacity is reduced. So then internally indicators. So whenever external or indicator events happens, mandatory you need to do the mandatory you need to do impairment testing. That's mandatory. But then in three cases, impairment testing becomes mandatory in three cases. One where you have a goodwill, then every year you need to do impairment testing when you have a goodwill in your books. Second, when you have intangible assets with an indefinite life. So when you have intangible assets, any idea what could be intangible assets with indefinite life? Any quick thoughts anybody has? Which intangible assets could have indefinite life? Anyone has any clue? So the goodwill is one. Goodwill will be always impairment testing mandatory. Another intangible asset apart from goodwill which has indefinite life. Anyone can think of any intangible asset which have indefinite useful life? See, there are certain intangibles which have definite useful life. Like for example, if I buy a software, it have 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. If I buy a patent, copyright has a useful life, Chitra. So when I buy a copyright, they give me unending copyright or they give me for 20 years, 30 years, 50 years. What do you think? When they give patent to me, they give patent for number of years or unlimited period. They give patent number of years. So 20 years copyright patent is given for 7 years, 14 years, depending on what technology you are giving. So then it is a definite life. Intangible asset like brand. Does brand has any life technically? If I buy McDonald's today and McDonald's brand is in my books now, does it have any life? It does not have any life. So those assets need to be impaired every year. Similarly, the third is whenever you have intangible assets under WIP, you need to impair every year. You need to do impairment testing every year. Any idea why intangible assets under WIP need to be tested for impairment every year? Any idea? Why you think it is mandatory? Why do you think it is mandatory? Because it may happen that you may not willing to continue it later due to change in technology. And if you're not willing to continue later for change of technology, then it will become a right of assets. And therefore, it is mandatory that you need to have a impairment testing done every year on intangible assets under WIP. A lot of people miss this doing that. A lot of auditors miss doing this, but you need to keep in mind and do this. Now, this this R&D which they have done, it got an interest. And the interest they got is a third party gave an offer that I can buy this at 17 lakh. So the 24 lakh is the costing they incurred till date. But somebody said, okay, I'll buy 17 lakh. The Bhavna view was we will at least save minimum 19 lakhs in perpetuity from this. So we don't need to sell this. But Mrs. Sinha view was this technology will become obsolete in 5 years because today you are claiming that you have edge. Tomorrow, other people cannot make a 3D printing. They cannot develop this own and they can also become our competitors. They can also do that. So you cannot stop somebody else from doing this technology. If I buy from UK, US, any technique like this, I can also work on this. According to Sneha, that after 5 years, I cannot imagine, but I think after 5 years, till 5 years, my value would be 18 lakhs. Now, if I need to do impairment testing as on 31st March, on my books, 24 lakh was total cost incurred. Out of 24 lakhs, which we capitalize, we wrongly capitalize 24 lakhs. Because, because why we wrongly capitalize 24 lakhs? Because 2 months was having a 2 months was a research period. So the research part should be expensed out. Since we have no details further, we will assume every month we are incurring 2 lakhs randomly. So 2 months, 4 lakh rupees we remove out is 20 lakhs. So 20 lakh is my carrying cost in my books. So 20 lakh is carrying cost of intangible assets, WIP. Now I need to do impairment testing. What is the formula of impairment testing? Recoverable amount should be higher of what? Anyone has any idea? Under Ind AS 36, carrying cost is compared with recoverable amount. And recoverable amount would be higher of what? Any idea? Recoverable amount would be higher of what? Recoverable amount will be higher of. So how much should I loss book? Shall I book a loss of 3 lakhs or 2 lakhs? Fair value or VIU, whichever is higher or whichever is lower? Fair value or value in use, whichever is higher or whichever is lower? Whichever is higher. So here my fair value is, I'm getting a fair value, third party is 17 lakhs. So for a asset of 20 lakhs, I'm getting it 17 lakhs. So that's a fair value. The value in use is coming for 18 lakhs. So whichever is high is 18 lakhs. So if I need to book an impairment, I will book an impairment of 2 lakh rupees because in my books, it is capitalized, it will capitalize at 20 lakhs, but I'm getting 18 lakhs fair value in use, value in use. So 2 lakhs will I book. Next year, when my research gets over and I'm getting a higher value, can I reverse this impairment loss? This year I booked 2 lakh rupees in my P&L. I hit my P&L with 2 lakh rupees. Next year, I'm getting a higher value, so I can reverse it. Only the impairment loss of goodwill written off cannot be recouped. You cannot charge it back. Rest all others can be recovered back. So the implication we just discussed, capitalization criteria before regulatory approach should not have been charged, which we discussed. Difference in valuation approach and useful life, what because the promoter, the one who created things, it is indefinite, but the promoter thinks sensible approach that 5 years should be sufficient because competitors will always come in. Now they engaged a German company. GmbH is generally German companies. They wanted to take technical services for this 3D printing. So they take a highway company, Pathway Consulting, which is a big firm in Germany. They hired them. They gave them a contract of 25 lakh rupees. Payment was made on 31st December to them, the German bank account. They don't have a permanent establishment in India, so that is not relevant. Since we have a DTAA, that is double tax avoidance agreement. Normally, if I need to make a payment to NRI, how much TDS I should deduct? Any idea? When you make a payment to NRI, how much TDS you should deduct? Any idea? It is 10%. It is 10 or 20 under section 195. Under section 195, is it 10 or 20? Are you, Neha, did you answer 10 by seeing on the screen? TDS on fees of technical service, 10% you take it from there, then it's fine. If you're not, then it's fine. So it is 20%. So under section 195, we deduct TDS 20% when we make a payment to NRI. Let's say you are an NRI, you purchased a land in 2020. In 2020, you purchased a land of 10 lakh rupees. Okay. In 2025, you sold this land to me at 12 lakh rupees. Okay. How much TDS I should deduct? You purchased the land at 10 lakh rupees in 2010, 2020, 2025, the land you are selling it to me 12 lakh rupees. How much TDS I should deduct? On what amount? You are a non-resident. What do you think? Any idea? Correct. If you have a DTA, then 10% on 2 lakhs. So I got one answer that I should deduct TDS on 2 lakhs. Anybody has a different answer? Anybody has a different answer? It may sound insane. Shall I deduct TDS on 12 lakhs? Yes, no, maybe. Does it looks logical if I deduct TDS on 12 lakhs? Assuming 20% on 12 lakhs, that is 2,40,000. I made a gain of 2 lakhs. The TDS need to deduct of how much? 2,40,000. And that's absurd provision in law, which is, so when you sell, well, what does the section 195 says? Again, go back and read section 195 again. What does it says? Does it says deduct TDS on profit, or it says when you make any payment to non-resident, deduct 20% on that payment? Yes, no, maybe. Any payment. So I'm paying him 2 lakhs or I'm paying him 12 lakhs. What do you think? Common sense why I understand, and I am with you, Sanjay. Common sense wise, he made a gain of only 2 lakh. How can the law ask a poor guy to pay 2,40,000? Your gain is only 2 lakh. I understand that. But this is a practical problem with all NRIs. They always pay more TDS than what the gain they would have done. Then they will file an income tax return and they will get a refund. They will for sure get the refund because my gain is only 2 lakh. On 2 lakh, you pay me 30% tax, 60,000. I'll get my refund back for sure. But at that time, you need to pump in money because that's the TDS deducted. So that's why I said ki law will never work on common sense. Law will work on what is written in the law. So I cannot make any assumptions. Always read law and always read law from the bare act. Act will tell you what is written. Because when you read any book, any article, you are reading my interpretation or somebody else's interpretation, which may be wrong. I interpret something wrong way and I put on LinkedIn, Twitter, everywhere, people will say, oh, this is interpretation, which may be wrong interpretation. Somebody need to read on his own to understand the law better. And when I can read a law from bare act, you can also read a law from bare act, right? So you can also have your own interpretation. Any CA inter student always have the same ability to understand and read, which anybody else would have. So what is the implication that if I have a DTA, so DTA is double tax avoidance agreement. India has approximately 100 plus countries DTA. DTA is to avoid double taxation. So, so let's say if I'm earning in India, I'm a resident in India, I'm paying tax in India. I'm also working in Middle East and I'm also paying tax on Middle East. So it cannot happen. I'm earning 1 crore rupees in Middle East. I'll pay 20% tax in Middle East law, let's say 20% tax. And in India, you will say, oh, you earned 1 crore in Middle East as an Indian citizen, Indian resident, your global income is fully taxable. I will also charge 30% on 1 crore rupees. That will be a double taxation because already I paid 20 lakhs. So my net is 80 lakh. So DTA gives a benefit of whatever taxes you paid in one country, so you get a set off. Here in DTA, since though I need to deduct 20%, but because we have a DTA with Germany, I need to deduct 10%. So my accountant deducted 10%, correct. He knows little bit on DTA, so he deducted only 10%. But he did a blunder. He forgot to deposit the TDS to the government. What do you think are the implications of this? My staff deducted. I paid the customer less amount. So we did the right part of deducting it, but we did not did the right part of depositing it. It's a human error. He forgot to deposit because he was looking for his PAN and PAN did not came for whatever reason. He forgot. What is the implication on the company when I made a payment under FEMA? I deducted the TDS but not deposited. It will be disallowed expenses. So 30% will have impact on me because what was supposed a legitimate expenditure, I'll not be allowed to do that. Now, if today I pay that TDS, today I deposit the TDS with interest, then what will happen? So as on 30th of December or June. So under section 41 IA, if you would have paid TDS later on, at that year, you will be allowed to take the benefit under computation. At the time, the law will allow you to take the expense claim. So that is permitted. So this is a mistake he did here. Corrective action he have taken. He deposited in late December 25 after the auditor would have pointed out the errors. Implication is there will be a penalty under Income Tax Act. Disallowances happens under 40 AI, and whenever you pay actual, you will be allowed. So in the books, it will be always shown as incurred in 2024 and 25. Only in computation you will show a difference. So books will never change. Books will remain as it is. Computation will change. And they learn that compliance is very expensive. If you don't pay on time, you'll have a huge issue. Anybody would have seen builders. Does builder pays deposit timely, interest timely, TDS timely? Yes, no, maybe. Anybody who has any idea? If you have seen practically, does builders deposit TDS timely? Generally, builders do not deposit timely TDS generally, and uh, I'm not blaming the industry, or I'm not trying to paint them all in one color, because we deal with many builders, and we have seen uh, we have seen a trend that majority, and I'm not talking of matured builders, I'm talking of growing middle class builders, mid age builders, companies which is in the mid size segment. Generally, they do not deposit TDS on time. And any idea why they do not deposit on time? Any idea why they do not deposit on time? Because they say it is cheaper for me to pay penalty and interest than to borrow money from the market. They say it is take 1.5%, which is still easier for me. Let me pay the interest on that instead of taking a loan at a 24% from NBFCs and other sharks. It's better to take from department. That's what actually happens in many of them. I remember there was it's a real case I'm telling. So I remember we were warning our client that, sir, you should deposit TDS on time. You should deposit TDS on time. He says, Sumit, what is your problem? You are an auditor. You do a qualification. You say, I'm not deposit on time. When I'm paying interest, I'm making provision interest. What is the problem? So I said that, sir, sorry. I said, sir, continuous delay does not show good on your company. When you go for IPO, SME and all, it will be there. Well, then, Sumit, I ensure that till the time prosecution does not come, I will ensure I deposit on with interest penalty. The moment prosecution happens, yes, that is treated as tax planning. I'll not say tax planning, they say it's a finance planning. They said it's cheaper for me to pay interest as long as what does the government says, okay, you do not pay on time, pay interest. And I'm willing to pay interest. Then what is your problem? So he says we are taking it as a strategy to save our finance cost, because in a builder industry, the NBFC charge very high. They charge 24% interest generally. Okay, so that becomes a huge challenge for them. So for them, 18% is still cheaper. That's what they go for. Now they need to choose a capital busting choice. Should I go for investing in a project? It will take 5 crores. If I put a plant in Pune, it will take 5 crores. Risk-free rate is minimum 3%. That's expectation. I expect minimum guaranteed return. It is a risky return, so 3% expectation is very, very low. Generally, the risk-free rate, those who are studying SFM, financial management, how do we determine risk-free rate generally? Any idea in real life? For once you become finance heads and all, if somebody also asks you how do you determine risk-free rate, how do you determine risk-free rate? RFR is determined how? Any idea? Generally, government T-bill or which government? So their government issues many bonds. Which bond I should take? 91 days T-bill, 7 days T-bill, or 10-year government bond? Which you think should be considered as a risk-free rate? What do you think? 1 year T-bill or 10-year government bond? So it is always 10 years government bonds we take. Why we take 10 years and what 91 days? If the government says, if the government issues a bond, and I'll say, as the government says, I will give you 6% interest, and this bond is for 10 years. So can we assume that the government is willing to contribute 6% without fail for 10 years? In a government budget, when the government would have done its mathematics planning, they are willing to bear a cost of 6% interest for 10 years. Can we assume that hypothetically? So that's why it is considered a risk-free rate. So the longer the duration of the bond is, the longer the duration of the coupon is, that means it is considered risk-free. In US, they take 30 years. In India, we don't have 30 years bond generally by government. So we take 10 years as a benchmark. But in US, risk-free rate is taken on 30 years US bond. So 3% technically it does not happen. In a question, they said 3%, but in realistically, it is always 6% minimum. So once you compute the cash flows, it is coming at 8.35 crores. So by putting a 5 crore investment, if you go on a plain maths, it gives 8.35. So on a cursory level, one will always say yes to this kind of investment because you're at least getting more than the capital contributed. So your capital is 5 crores, you're getting 8.35, you're still making 2.3 crores profit. So one should always 3.35 profit. So one should always say yes. Here in this case, because here the cash flows are sure, because you have estimated the cash flows, the only variable part is this risk-free rate. Something goes wrong in this answer becomes skewed. So that we need to keep in mind. So you adjust the cash flows accordingly, determine the returns, that's fine, we'll do that. As a thumb rule, if NPV is greater than 0, then only you take decision of investing in it. And risk adjust needs to be always adjusted. Now they have one choice. Either I can take one printer on lease. If I take one printer on lease, ICAI Enterprises will give me on a lease. Lease will be for 3 years. In the lease, they will also include maintenance. So those who are given printer, they will also give maintenance. So if I take a standalone lease of the product, they will give me 8 lakh rupees standalone. If I take maintenance separately, where I buy the product and as I take maintenance, they'll charge 2 lakhs. So approximately it will be 10 lakhs per annum. But if I do a bundle deal with them, bundled product, I take the asset on lease, so that will be 6 lakhs. Maintenance that will mandatory, will come 1 lakh. So I need to pay 7 lakhs. So between 7 and 10 lakhs, what should I take? So I think it's no brainer because I am a small vendor. I need to grow and take chances. So I will take a contractual price of lease bundled instrument. So I'll say, okay, give me a sign of 7 lakhs. Now, when I give a sign of 7 lakhs, how much should I book in my lease? If I would have, how much should I book on my lease? Any quick thoughts? When I need to do a book entry, shall I book 6 lakhs on lease or 6 lakhs should I book a lease? That is when I'm doing a standalone. That is when I'm doing a standalone prices. What is a bundled product? When I'm doing a bundled, it is a bundle. So technically, my lease component is how much? If I'm taking standalone price, you got this? You got the difference in that question? If I would have taken standalone, I would have paid 8 lakh for this instead of 6 lakhs. If I have only taken the asset on lease, 8 lakhs. If I would have taken only maintenance, it would have taken 2 lakhs. So, but if I'm taking a bundle that I'll take both, they are offering me 7 lakhs. So 8 lakh is 80% of this and 2 lakh is 20%. So 7 lakh will be divided into 80% and 20%. So lease component will be booked as 5 lakh 40,000, 5 lakh 60,000, and maintenance would be 1 lakh 40,000, 20%. This anyone would have downloaded the sample case study would have got this question. Just understand this question, that why we are segregating, because it is a bundled asset, and here I got a contractual price. So my price is fixed 7 lakh both. He's not telling me the price. I'll not say, oh, I'll book only maintenance one, because lease will go 5.6, that is 80% of this in a general standalone price. Now, we discuss all this. Let me take. Now, if I want to take the disruption which he has done, which type of disruption does you think introduction of 3D printing in real estate sector represents? Out of this four, which one you think makes sense? We got one answer. I'm not sure that's the right answer or not, but we got one answer. Out of disruption models, which one you think could be? So is it a new market, or the market is the same? It is a low end disruption. The segment, is this segment would be a low end or heavy high end? It's a low end. Now, take example. Have you seen the tiles? Nowadays, the tiles are machine made or handmade? What do you think? The floor tiles are machine made or handmade? They are machine made. So they are cheaper or expensive than handmade? What do you think? They are much, much cheaper, much, much cheaper. Okay. So handmade tiles are more expensive than machine made tiles. Then does somebody uses handmade tiles? So the designers use handmade tiles. Designers, somebody wants. If you would have gone to cafe and you would have seen artistic tiles, there are many handmade tiles. So just Google handmade tiles. The cost is 3 times more. Remember, I'm not saying 30%. I'm saying 3 times more than the machine tiles. But still, many designers, many people use, for them luxury. So those who want to have a luxury will always have a handmade uh, product. But those who are looking for a cost efficiency will go for low end disruption. So this is a low end disruption because the market segment you are touching is low end. This question, if you can get a logic, you'll get an idea. From the case scenario, what have you discussed? Which stage of startup you think is B3D in it? What do you think it would be fit into, according to you? It fits into which, at this point of time, which position we are into? So it is startup stage with product market fit stage. Because you have the product, which is a market fit, you have stage that. You have not, it does not fit at this point of time scale fit. because there at the time you need to go for experimenting it, getting it success wasted out. This we discussed. You can have a quick which kind of inventory you should model I should follow. Think again, Sanjay. I should follow C or D? Should follow D because cement I need to stock anyways because that's a limited supply. But I can always have just in time for bricks and glasses because I can get it from anywhere. Now this calculation you can do it later on a remember on a broad level we think 3.35 is the right answer on a broad level, but once you do a calculation you'll get 2.6 because we need to have a certainty equivalent technique. I need to have adjustment factor of 3%. When I take an adjustment factor of 3%, my cash flows will go down. Answers are there in the case study. You can get through that. So these are the broad areas I wanted to talk about. This point we discussed on the lease, non-lease, how much we need to recognize. So that way, why we need to go for 5.6 there and why not 6 common sense? Common sense says 6 because when you are doing a bundled product, you need to do that. Say for example, if any one of you have any relative outside India, you can check with them. So I'll give example of US. So in US, what happens? US they say you buy an iPhone and take 2 years of Airtel subscription free. So let's say per month Airtel charges 1,000 rupees. Let's say they say you buy an iPhone and for 2 years your Airtel subscription is free. I'm selling an iPhone for I'm selling an iPhone for 50,000 rupees. Now, what do you think? When I am selling iPhone, am I only selling iPhone or I am also selling the service? What do you think? I am a salesman. It is a bundled product. Am I giving it free or nothing is free in the corporate world? What do you think? So when you give a bundled product, you need to segregate. Nothing is free. Everything is already built in. Whenever you see anyone giving 120% extra free, nothing is free. This free is a gimmick word. The free word or 20% extra word, they act like a dopamine to our brains that okay, this doesn't give you happiness to take this decision. You are in a good position. You are in a win-win situation. So, but when I am giving a bundle product, so when I sell a phone like this, so when I sell a phone, I say iPhone of 50,000 with 2 years warranty, 2 years telephone subscription. So absolutely right. India is 115. So there I need to segregate. I need to segregate the cost of service which I am giving and the cost of phone. So this need to be, how should I do that? Shall I do the entire 24,000 and do that? No, then I need to segregate. I need to take percentage wise. Had I would have sold on standalone, then what could be the price of iPhone? Had I ever sold standalone the subscription, what could be the price? Then I take an average, I take a percentage basis, and based on that, we'll charge and do that. So this bundled product we need to keep in mind. Let's say I'm selling a car. I'm selling a Honda City or i10 or any car with 1 year warranty free. You know, when you buy a car, you get 1 year warranty free generally. 1 year generally you get a warranty free. So what do you think? Shall I shall I split this also? Yes, no, maybe. What do you think? Any quick thoughts on that? What does India's 115 says? Then what does India's 115 says? You don't need to do that. Isn't it a contradictory thing we are talking? 2 minutes back, I told you that when you are giving a iPhone and giving a 2 years warranty subscription, you need to segregate it. But when I'm saying you're selling a car and giving a warranty free, you don't need to do that. Why is that so? What are the standards says? If it is a regular market practice that every other dealer, every other car seller is giving 1 year warranty free, which is a market standard, then you don't need to segregate it. That is fine. But if every industry is giving 1 year and you are giving 3 years warranty free, at that time you need to segregate it and do the separate accounting. So this is broadly I have. If you have any points to discuss, anything you'd like to discuss, then we can take it further. Any points you have, any comments you need to make, anything on this industry or something? If you have any other points to make on disruption industry, 3D technology that we just talked about, we saw it, how it is making changes. And I also mentioned, I know a company, I cannot take the name of the company because of copyrights and IP matters. One company is working on the same model in UK. They are working for African countries. They are making entire thing in their they are making entire thing. They are making entire modules, small bathrooms, small kitchens. The kitchens can be used at a client's place in UK, shipping it through by sea at Africa and other places, and getting it installed in a day's time. So assembling is very easy. So this technology is moving a very fast speed. So that way, builders need to take benefit of it, and those who are smart enough will always take the benefit out of it and move ahead. And remember, early mover will always have an advantage. That. Thank you, Sanjay, for your kind words. अभी मुझे एकदम से दीपक जी अजीत जी लगे, मैंने कहा ये आपका नाम अजीत जी इसमें आ गया, तो मैंने कहा so thank you all for your patient hearing. Now Deepak ji will take over.
Sir, thank you for your clear, insightful, and practice-driven explanation of today's case study on emerging 3D printing revolution in the construction industry, as illustrated by Bharat 3D model. Through your expert guidance, we were able to examine the intrinsic strategic, operational, financial, and regulatory dimensions shaping this transforming sector. From capital intensive technology adoption and project cost optimization to balancing regulatory compliance with the need for innovation in traditional fragmented and labor intensive industry. Your application of multidisciplinary concepts such as law and disruption in action, the journey through the product market fit stage, and the assessment of financial viability through net present value computations, addressing tax disallowances under Section 40 AI, mapping the business model, and analyzing the treatment of innovation cost under Ind AS 38 intangible assets. All these offered students a vivid demonstration of how integrated thinking is indispensable in solving real world challenges in sector like construction technology, where upfront investment are substantial, payback periods are very long, and strategy must be both agile and foresighted. Your session perfectly include the purpose of IBS paper to cultivate holistic analysis, strategic judgment, and multidisciplinary approach. We deeply appreciate your time, commitment, especially during this demanding audit season. And thank you for equipping future chartered accountants with the mindset and tools to navigate and lead in dynamic innovation driven sector. Thank you once again, sir, for your valuable contribution. Students, this is the time to put forward your questions. Students, please go ahead and raise your queries. Students, remind yourself of your purpose, whether it is becoming a CA, making an impact, or making your family proud. This paper is gateway. Okay, the IBS paper is not about rote learning. It is about developing you like a CFO, CEO, auditor, CEO, strategist, business advisor. Every case study brings you different experience. Okay, strategic models are not traps, they are tools. They are very important tools. Once you understand them, how to apply, then you can easily apply. Okay, think think all business models as GPS of case studies. Okay, exam may be easy, moderate, or tough, but your job must be like a decision maker. Then you can easily handle the exam. Okay, don't just memorize, practice how you would respond if you were the CEO, CFO, director, auditor, etc. Thousands have passed this path, and so will you. Seek help, ask questions, and keep showing up. You don't need to be perfect, but there should be consistency. Consistency is very, very important. Again, I am repeating, the basic understanding is very, very important for this subject. If you have good basic understanding, I am sure you will definitely score very good marks. Okay, students, please ask your queries. There is one query in my chat box. It is it is about MCQs, handling of MCQs in this paper. I am repeating again, although I have explained this query in my previous session. Okay, but for your understanding, I am explaining this again. Students, please note that IBS is not just another paper. It is a business simulation. Okay, every MCQ is a part of scenario. Okay, in case study, please note, in a case study there are so many short scenarios. Okay, and MCQs are connected with those scenarios. Okay, it means MCQ is a part of a large story. Okay, first understand the case before answering the questions. Don't rush MCQs right away. First read the background of case study properly. What is business model? For example, this this particular case study was based on disruption. There is a specific business model. Therefore, some specific standards, rule, regulations are connected with that. First, you have to identify which model, which framework is behind the case study. Then you can go ahead. Okay. Highlight important numbers, decisions, challenges which are required. Treat each MCQ as a separate decision or as a separate challenge. Each MCQ is not just a theory, but it is a separate problem. I am repeating again and again, it is a separate problem. Identify the role you have to play, or decision you have to take, or concept you have to link. It is very important to use elimination techniques in MCQs. Many MCQs have two clearly wrong choices. Sometimes it may have three also. Strike them out. You can easily identify the wrong, incorrect options. Strike them out. After that, filter most appropriate and best options from the remaining. But to filter out most appropriate information, you must have basic conceptual understanding. If you have basic conceptual understanding, only then you can use your open book resources in best manner. Therefore, you should be able to apply elimination technique, and you can apply this technique only when you have done lot of practice. Elimination technique you can apply very easily, but it requires lot of practice. Practice is very important. If a company has cash flow issues, would you advise debt, equity? Debt, probably not. Okay, think from this perspective. Bring multidisciplinary knowledge. Strategic models are very important, like Porter 5 forces, McKinsey 7S, Altman's Z score, supply chain management. In previous examination, you got a question on supply chain management, question number, I think it was question number 6, 2.6. Okay. Make mind map. Make mind map of important concepts, business models, or your accounting standards. It will be very helpful in examination conditions. Time management is also very important. Divide your time between MCQs and descriptive portion. In examination, you have 20 MCQs. For each MCQs, for each MCQ, there is around 4 to 4.5 minutes. It means you can devote around 90 minutes for MCQs easily, and for remaining time you can devote for descriptive portion. But this 90 minutes is not standard. You may solve MCQs in 60 minutes also, but whenever you do practice, try within 60 minutes or 70 minutes. But this is based on my judgment. Okay, if you stuck in a tough MCQ, mark it doubtful. Mark it doubtful, finish the rest and come back. Come back when? After finishing your other questions. Okay? Mock exams are very, very important. Do at least 4 mock test papers. Try to practice reading. Reading of case study is very, very important. Don't just memorize, understand the why. MCQs may test your reasoning, not just your memory. The goal is not to know the most, but to apply what you know with the right perspective. So be clear headed, trust your preparation, and remember you are solving business problem, not just answering questions. There is one more query. It is how to solve a case study. How to solve a case study? Okay. Handling case studies effectively requires a structured approach. Okay. First, start the reading case studies thoroughly. Break down the case study, break down entire case into smaller manageable parts. Okay. First, go to requirement part, and after this, start reading case study. And even you can directly connect MCQ with relevant portion of the case study. Okay, you have to correlate MCQ with particular portion in case study. While solving case study in IBS examination, it is essential to apply various tools, models to evaluate situation. Okay, but along that side, it is important to identify important standards accounting frameworks. In this particular case study, Ind AS 38 was relevant. Think think which type of industry, which type of company is this, which type of relevant standards may be applicable. Okay, for instance, Ind AS 115 may be relevant for revenue recognition in bundled or long-term contracts. Ind AS 116 in lease arrangements, or Ind AS 103 in business combinations. Section of the Companies Act SEBI LODR regulation for listed entities and FEMA provisions in international operations should be considered, should be taken care of. If a company is listed then you may get questions from SEBI LODR regulations. Therefore, please take care that portion also. Structure your answer logically. For structuring your answer, use sketch making. I have already explained the sketch making, okay, in my previous session. Keep your language professional, clear, and concise. Justify your analysis and recommendation with proper reasoning, referring to facts and figures from the case. Suppose if a question says to assess competitive environment means you have to apply Porter's 5 forces, but it doesn't mean to simply paste model's theory from the module to your answer sheet. You have to catch some figures, fact, and after from the case study, and analyze and correlate with 5 forces of the Porter's 5 forces model. Simply writing of direct theory won't work. You won't get any mark if you are simply writing theories. You have to apply the framework. To apply framework, you have to use the figures, fact, or other information given in the case study. Okay, it is very, very important. Now, time is very, very important. Stay aware of the time constants. Allocate time based on marks assigned to each question. Although I have explained this so many times, I am again explaining you. Okay, if a question is having worth of 12 marks and it is saying to assess competitive environment, and here we have to apply Porter's 5 forces. Okay, and Porter 5 forces is having 5 stages. Okay, divide 12 marks into 5 stages. It means each stage will have worth around 2.4 marks. It means for each stage, for each step, you have to write either 2 or 3 points, at least 2 or 3 points. After this, you have to give proper conclusion if you want to get full marks. Sometimes students write first stage in full manner. They give instead of 2 or 3 points, they give 5, 6. Similarly, in stage second, they give 5 or 6 points, but they fail to explain other stages due to time constraints. Here, it doesn't matter how much you are writing. Okay, it matters you are writing all complete forces and you are giving only relevant informations. If they have asked you to give either 2 or 3 points, then 2 or 3 points are sufficient. Don't give extra points, 5 or 6 points. This, okay, giving extra points won't work. divide your answer into logical points. Okay, 12 marks question. In this example, 12 marks question in 5 step. It means give 2 or 3 points in each step. Don't give extra points, but write all steps, all forces with proper conclusion. Then you will get 12 out of 12 if your reasoning is correct. Okay. A combination of good preparation, time management, and analytical thinking will help you to handle the case studies confidently. Students, in this exam, conceptual understanding is very important. Okay, understand the important concepts from each area, apply them. ठीक है, you may spend too much time in searching in examination. Students, please note that in examination, simply relying on modules, search and copy won't work. Okay, although it's open book exam, please note simply search and copy won't work here. You may spend too much time trying to find the exact section, theory, concepts from the module. If you don't truly understand why behind the concept, even you find the right term or right framework, you may end up by applying wrong concepts in a wrong manner. You might answer one question by copying text, but there is chance you will be likely run out of the time for rest other questions. Therefore, please use open book resources wisely. And you can use open book resources in a very well manner if you have good conceptual understanding. If you don't have good conceptual understanding, therefore you cannot use open book resources in a good manner. To use open book resources, you must have good conceptual understanding. Only then you can apply, correlate the facts, figure, but at least you must have basic conceptual understanding instead of expert knowledge, but you should have basic conceptual understanding. Okay, focus on understanding the fundamentals, use case studies, practice question, and integrated scenarios to test yourself. The more you practice applying theory in a variety of contexts, the more confident you will become. Students, please refer annual reports. Please refer annual reports of the listed companies. There are so many areas, there are so many concepts, there are so many standards you will be able to apply. The our modules, the ICAI's modules are excellent reference tools for revision, for clarity, for supporting your answer. But at same times, you can also refer annual reports. How in the real world the standards are being applied. Okay, therefore it's my suggestion to refer annual report along with ICAI's module. This exam rewards thinking like a professional, not just a student. When you approach it with a mindset of analysis, strategy, and applied understanding, you won't just pass, but you will surely stand out. Students, any other query? Okay. To all the students, thank you for your enthusiasm and thought provoking questions. Your active participation enriched the session and reflected the analytical thinking. As you continue your preparations, I encourage you to keep connecting concepts across subjects from strategy to accounting to governance to taxation. Just as we practiced today, that's the essence of the IBS paper thinking holistically, advising strategically, and acting professionally. Wishing each of you the very best for your studies and your exams. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sumit Dada, sir,
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
for
inviting.
guiding us and thanking students for making today's sessions a meaningful success. Thank you, everyone. Session over.
Nimtak ji, session over.